Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today is the day we are setting up our April planner. So I've got a ton of planners on my desk right now. I've got two planners right here, two right here, so four. I've got my Franken planner, five, two big planners, that's seven, and then over here I've got four more planners. Hopefully you can see it. That is now 11. So I've got 11 planners on here. I definitely need to clear all of these things out and get set up so that way I can get this video going. But we're going to be setting up my Franken planner and walking through the setup for April. So if you're interested in that, definitely stay tuned. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and clear everything off and we'll pop back on with just the planners that we're going to start with. Okay, just in order to save space, we're going to go ahead and start with my two big planners. These two planners do live separately, and so I don't Franken-plan them. I pretty much use them as I've set them up for 2025. I also want to say before I dive into this very first one that I have two additional planners that I don't flip through. Those are my two memory books for my two girls. I just am never caught up enough to be able to flip through it, but for both of them I do use classic vertical planners that are for 2025, and then I don't flip through any of my home reference material, so any of my home binder systems. I do record those videos separately. This is just my setup for work, personal life, all the planning type stuff, all the planners that I consider my planners that I use to get everything that I do for my life on paper. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and flip through again my two big planners first, just because I think that it will be just something that I can clear off my desk really quickly. So we're going to go ahead and start off with my social media planner. I have set this up for pretty much all of 2025. I did record a video for this recently. I'm trying to stay on screen here, but I do use an outdated teacher planner, and I decided to go ahead and go through my stash and find enough outdated teacher layout pages that I could finish out the entire year with it. So going into April then, I have April already set up. Again, teacher layout pages that are outdated. I'm going to finish out all of the random pages that I've got, and then moving into May, I've got it as well. So this is staying pretty much the same, and really very little change is occurring with it. So yeah, that is done. So I do use social media, this planner, for social media tracking. Essentially, I don't do really any planning in here. It's writing down what I've posted to YouTube, Instagram, any planner related notes, big releases, things like that. So that goes in this planner. Okay, the next planner is my work planner. So kind of similar to what I said in the social media planner, I'm using an outdated planner. This one is a big size, just like I said. And for April, I'm continuing with what I've been using, which has been a dashboard layout. So let me get to it. So it's a dashboard layout. I did check before this video and realized that I'm going to be running out of dashboard pages around July, and so this planner, I don't have any more dashboard pages to fill out for the rest of 2025. So once I finish out all of my dashboard layout pages, I will be switching layouts for this planner. But for April, I did decide to do a couple of different things. So first of all, I had this hello page, decided just to go ahead and use it, like let's just try to use up these supplies. And then I just decide, because I had this monthly layout page that was marked specifically for April, I'm going to attempt to add in this dashboard view that's from a monthly layout planner that I've had in my stash probably since 2019. I'm going to try to track some things in April, use this as like a monthly to-do list. The back of it is also a to-do list, or at least, part of the to-do list. If you're familiar with the monthly layout from the Happy Planner, you'll recognize that. And then I added in some just like line pages that I had. Also for this planner, I mentioned like I spent some time looking through it to see what I had left. Again, it goes through July, but since I was in my planner, I decided to go ahead and decorate it. I haven't written in it, but I did decorate, so I wanted to show you what I have done. I need to do the same thing for my social media planner, but the way that I use this is this side I use to track all of my events, meetings, and I think in April I'm going to go ahead and start trying to track just like a few notes for like the big projects that I'm working on. So I'm going to try to do that on this side. And then this side actually does not correspond to this page. This page and corresponds with this page. And so I then have a 1-page sheet that I can carry for the entire week. And so the back side, which is the left hand side, I do track all of my to-do list, any projects. I use basically all of this space for projects. I went ahead and added in some pages, and one thing that I did change in, I think, February was to go ahead and add in daily pages. And I haven't decorated it yet, but I do have daily pages in here for this first week, and I'll continue adding pages in as I need to. Right, and again, I've decorated for the rest of the month, so here's April 14th. Again, haven't decorated the daily pages, but I've got daily pages in there. Right, decorated this one. Rosie she saw me starting to decorate, and so she wanted to put stickers, and so she ended up putting stickers like down here, but I kept the integrity of how she laid it, but I just moved it up to a spot that where it wasn't in the way. Right, like she did this, like I said. Okay, and the last day, or the last week, April 28th through the 30th, because I have outdated pages, I do decide to just keep all of April together. So even though it's only Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I do use it only for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of April. And then going into May, you'll see here May is a separate page, right? So I do have additional daily pages here, which I'm almost done with using. I've got maybe like 2 weeks worth of pages still left. And so once I finish those out, I posted or recorded a video about moving to these half-letter size pages, which are similar but like slightly different than the pages I'm currently using. So I do have that ready to transition to that. Then got a bunch of random pages that I can use to take notes. And then, like I said, my pages end in July, and so starting in August, I'll be switching to vertical layout. This is really only for April, but wanted to kind of give you a preview of what I've got. But like, short story here, I've got April monthly, April weekly pages that are dashboard layout that I do front and back, and then the daily pages that I'm incorporating as I need to. So that is my work planner, and I use that to, of course, track all my notes for work. Okay, now we're going to move to 2 planners actually, just because I recorded a Q1 check-in for both of these planners, and these were the 2 that I ended up changing a little bit. So for my faith planner, I did originally have an actual planner, a faith layout planner. The pages are still in here, so I can definitely change back to it if I want to, but I am going to go ahead and in April, I'm going to finish out this journal, which is just a regular lined journal. I'm going to take my notes for like Bible studies, sermon notes, things like that. And what I did decide to do is that what I'm going to do once I get to the very back of it, I don't like to waste pages, right? So what I'm going to do is start again at the front and write on the left-hand side. So what I've done at this point is just write only on the right-hand side. Now I'll go back in and write on the left-hand side. And just as a preview, you can see here, like the marker that I was using bled through a little bit. I would probably just use stickers and do a little bit of decorating. So there's going to be a little bit of that. I might also go ahead and carry over into the right-hand side. So that is the plan for this journal, and that will be my faith system moving into April. Then for my budget planner, I did make this change ages ago, where I stopped using the lined vertical, which kind of looks like this. So I did try to use this in 2025. I did it in January, wasn't very good at using it, so did delete this from my system. I talk about that in my Q1 check-in. And so I'm still going to be using this book, which I use it in 2 different ways. I use it to track future events on the go, and then every week I go in and convert it to an expense tracker. And I mentioned in my Q1 check-in that one of the things that I want to add is my actual budgeting, and so that will need to occur somewhere in here. I'm still kind of working out in my head how that's going to happen, but all of my budget stuff will be in this planner by the end of the month of April. So definitely still use it for expense tracking, just to kind of show you what that looks like. I decorated it up every single week, and then I just write. Well, I didn't do a great job in March, but let's just go back to February. I just write what I spent, and so that's kind of what it looks like. I obviously have a bunch of extra boxes here where I didn't spend. That's a good thing. Okay, and then the final thing is going to be my FRANKENPLANNER, and this will actually, the video is already long, but this part will actually take some time to convert, because in this FRANKENPLANNER, I have my personal catch-all, and you'll see what that looks like as we get into it. I also include in my FRANKENPLANNER, my personal growth planner where I keep my leadership notes, my family planner, and then my health log, which is essentially my food log. So these 4 planners need to move into my FRANKENPLANNER. Now, one thing that I did decide to do is my faith planner, because I'm no longer using this faith planner. I'm going to break it apart. I want to start off with, in terms of setting up this FRANKENPLANNER, I want to convert the FRANKENPLANNER, or move the FRANKENPLANNER from classic size discs to expanders. So that way I can keep March with the pages until I finish them, and then move with April, and then once April rolls around, I can keep April and May together, so that way I can have 2 months. So I need the discs to be able to do that, just because it's already like super tight just with March in there, and there's no way I can add April in there. So we're going to speed through this part. I'm going to go ahead and take the discs off, move everything in here over to expander discs, basically break this one apart to get the discs, and then break this one apart, and then switch to the discs. Hopefully that makes sense. But again, I'll speed this part so that way, you know, it won't be a super like 3-hour long video. Okay, so I've taken the discs off my FRANKENPLANNER and off the faith planner. So faith planner, now no discs. And same with my FRANKENPLANNER. It has no discs right now. Look at how chunky it is. Right? I don't know how I got this all on classic size discs. But what we're going to do is go ahead and store the classic size discs. And we're going to go ahead and put all of this on the expander discs. Yeah, I really don't know how I got all this on there. So once I put this all on, I'm going to go ahead and add all of the March pages back on. You'll be able to see some of it, but I will do a full flip through of March in a separate video. I probably should have broken this video into 2 as well, but oh well. I already had decided I was going to do it all in one, so that's all right. It'll just be a longer video. But I'm going to put the discs on and then just move everything from March in here. The flip through for March, since I've moved it to expanders, it will be within the same planner as the April. And then once I do the flip through for YouTube and posterity reasons, you know, just to have the March pages, you know, on video, then I will take the March pages out and put them into, you know, the individual planners. So that's just kind of how it works for me, and being able to keep the current month and the next month, or, you know, like where we are right now with end of March, beginning of April, to be able to have March and April together. That's really helpful to me. It just makes it so much easier, so that way I don't have to like have a separate planner where I'm storing pages. You know, I could just go straight from the individual planner into the FRANKENPLANNER. So that's why I just went ahead and decided, since I'm not really using the faith planner anyway, I'm just going to break it apart. For my faith planner, now that it doesn't have discs, I will find a set of discs to be able to put them, you know, back together. But I also probably could, you know, just kind of break it apart and, you know, store pages, dividers, covers, everything separately. So that is something for me to think about. Until I make a decision, my faith planner will just be floating in my space, taking up space. I do like to leave it out like that, because I'm a visual person. If it's like right in front of my face, I know I need to make a decision for it. So again, I'm just adding everything back in. Let me go ahead and fast forward through this part as well. Again, trying not to make this like a 3-hour video. So I'll be back once I get everything back on the discs. I have transferred everything over, and again, I don't know how I got that on classic size discs because I feel like it's still kind of full. All right, the baby's crying. I've got to go. We'll cut out and cut back in to record the rest of this video. Okay, so I have settled the girls. Hopefully they don't make any additional noises. So like I said, I put this on expanders and it looks full already, so it was definitely time to upgrade. I'm not quite sure how I was able to fit it on classic size, but anyway, let's go ahead and go through this so that way you can see what's in here and what I will be using for April. The first tab is my annual pages. I've just got a hello page to cover. I've got a sticky note dashboard that I can definitely use, as well as some sticky notes that I use to mark my lines. I also have this envelope, and this envelope has my washi dots. It has a sheet of holiday stickers that I use in, I think, my family planner. And then I've got this stencil that I use a pencil for and just draw in lines when I want to write with, when I want to make those lines like that. So I either use that or the stencil. So those are all there. Then I have my 2026 calendar. I did finally remove the 2025 calendar. So now it's just 2026. This is what I use to track future events. And so it's not lined up in terms of days of the week. So I do ignore the days of the week and just mark the dates. So that's how I use it. Right now I've got Sophia's school calendar already in for 2026. The first half of it at least. Second half right now is still empty. Okay, and then this is where we're going to get into it. So the second tab is for my catch-all, which is my personal planner. I am not flipping through it. I will do the flip through later. But what I have in here is a combination. I flipped through the first section because, you know, I think that's part of setup, right? But for this planner, actually, I have this very interesting page right here. This is my Disney planner. I should actually move this. You'll see this in the flip through again when I flip through it. But I have some Disney pages that I've been working on, so I'm going to add them up here. They are part of my home binder. Okay, so back here then, going back to where I was supposed to be, I've got my personal catch-all planner here, and I use a combination. So I'm leaving in March. This is the reason I added my planner on expanders. I've got a double planner system in here where I'm using both a monthly layout. So I have a monthly spread for that monthly layout. Then there's a dashboard view. And then there are daily task lists, which I use to write my pending tasks. So there are those two spreads of that. There's a notes page that I haven't used for anything. And then it goes into my tool daily pages, which are a daily on 2 page. On this side, there is a 30-minute increment from 6:30 to 11 o'clock. And this is from Tool, T-U-L. And I decorate this and just get it where I am able to write my notes for the day. And so I keep my events, but I also track, you know, like I just log during the day what I do and, you know, just keep up with it that way. And I did a few months ago, I did go through and dated it all for April. And so I'm actually missing this side. So let me go ahead and pull a sheet for that. Okay, so that's this sheet. I actually need to punch it as well. This is what planner setup videos are all about, right? Like getting everything ready to go for the month. All right, so I'm gonna punch it. All right, and that can, oh my gosh, look at my punch. That is not cool. All right, so I'm gonna have to clean up my Happy Planner punch because it didn't punch that well right here. So let me just trim it off. Again, this is the whole point of a lineup video, right? Is to get all this stuff set up for myself, mistakes and all. So cut that part out. All right, scoot that up here to the side. Okay, so I'm going to stick this page in as the last, and then I'm going to, wait a minute, I need to I need to pull this page out. What am I thinking? Okay, let's get all these. All right, let's move this planner to the side. Okay, and then now I can get it in. So this should be, yeah, March 31st. Okay, so I'm going to add April right behind it. Once March ends, I will do the flip through, like I said earlier, and then I can clear out March, so it will slim down quite a bit. But for this transition where I'm still in March, but also needing my April pages, I'll have 2 months in there. on the same set of discs. But it should be tight only for, you know, just like a week, I would say. All right, so that's the first planner, and I did explain what I use it for. So let's go then to the third tab. I haven't even labeled this. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. No, I don't have a black marker. Okay, so this tab then is my health or food log. I did add in this sheet just to kind of cover this up. This is where I ended up moving my 2025 pages that looked very similar to the 2026 pages. I was thinking I would go in here and log all of my steps, either my steps or my sleep hours. So I'm going to do that. I have that all logged on my watch and the app, so I can go back in and just kind of do that. But I did use here an outdated horizontal layout. It's just like a random mix of like different types of horizontal pages, and I did record a Q1 check-in for this planner where you know, I'm still going to be using it. I want to maybe consider adding in some tracking, which is where the 2025 pages came from, or you know, why I ended up moving that there. But then I also want to, I don't know, I still have not decided what this is for, so I'm gonna put this at the very front. These are like old pages. I think they're like really old pages that were misplaced, so I'm gonna move it here just to try to figure out where they go. Okay, so back to where I am. I need to get more horizontal pages for myself, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull like 5 weeks. So this is 1 week, 2, right, 3, 4. All right, this is 5 and 6, 7, 8. All right, I'm gonna pull this set. This 4. All right, so I'm gonna pull 4, and then I'm gonna pull this set, which is 5, and the style of it is all the same, so that should work out well for me. All right, so just to double check. All right, actually, let me move this over. All right, we're gonna do 1 week, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that is correct. And actually, now that I'm doing all of that, I'm going to move this 5th week to the back because we might only have 4 weeks. I'm pretty sure I'll need the 5th week, but just in case. All right, I might need a 6th week actually. If that's the case, I would of course pull it from the planner. So what I use the horizontal pages for are just to log my food. I do redate it and just change the dates and then just log my food, any physical health symptoms as well. And like I've already mentioned, I did add in the 2025 pages here to do a little bit of tracking because I really enjoyed tracking some of my physical health numbers. So I need to do this. That's on my list of things to do, is just to update this and put in my steps or my sleep. Again, still haven't decided. So that is the 3rd section. Now we are going to move into the 4th section here, which is my personal growth planner, and I do use right now a Simply layout. I have been super excited to do this and continue using this, and so I'm getting very close to the end of my Simply layout pages, which is good. That's the whole point of using them. But after that, I'm going to be moving to a dashboard layout, and then I don't know. At that point, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. So, all right. So we're going to stick these in here. And again, just adding it right in with the rest of the pages. But this is the Simply layout. So, you know, it has basically just the dashboard layout, the right-hand side of the dashboard. It doesn't have the left-hand task list. So it's just the boxes where you can put the events. And so I've got all the pages for that, including the notes page and everything else. You'll notice that I don't use monthly planners for any of my other planners except for my catch-all. That's the only one that I use a monthly planner for. I don't even use a monthly planner for my work or social media planners either. It's really just the weekly pages. All right, so that is done. Oh, and let me explain to you what I use this for. So for my personal growth planner, it is outdated, so I do redate it using sweet, quiet design stickers. And then what I do is track all of my volunteer events. So any leadership trainings, professional development, personal development, I kind of track on here. There is some blend, like some of this is in my work planner as well, of course it's going to be in my catch-all, but I really like to try to separate and keep record of just my volunteer stuff in one spot, so that way I have a place to reference it really quickly if I need to. So that's what this is for. I also use this section right here for chores. That has actually been working out well. I do like continuing to do that. It's just enough space that I can do it, and it doesn't feel like an entire chores planner. And then any spaces where I'm not tracking, or like it's empty and I don't have any leadership events or personal development type stuff going on, I have been trying, not been very good at it, but the goal was to journal about my goals. I just haven't been really good about that. So we'll just continue though. I mentioned in my quarter 1 check-in, I'm going to try again in April to really get back into the goals journaling. So we'll see how that goes. All right, this 5th tab is for family. I did add in this divider just to keep it cute, so we can move in pages. And actually, I don't need to add any pages in here. I'll talk about why that is in my flip through video, but basically I already have blank pages in here. All right, let me see where they start. Okay, so they start kind of right here. I've already got blank pages in here. I didn't end up using them in March. Right, so I've got those pages still in here. There's some pages like this where I'm just kind of taping it. I'm moving it to, you know, just a blank page. Right, so I don't need any pages here, but I do use, like you can see, a classic vertical. It is outdated. And so this planner I kind of treat as my creative journal, where I'm like able to decorate and make it super pretty in the vertical layout. And then I just keep like very light notes about things that my family and friends are doing. So it could be text messages, just things I see on Facebook, just notes for my family and friends. So one thing, for example, is my niece right now is at a wrestling tournament. That's something I would note and just kind of keep track of those notes for everyday life. Okay, that was the last planner. I didn't actually have to use it, but I do have it here. Now, like I said, when March is over, I'll move it back into the planner. So just for example, when I finish flipping through the pages and finishing the pages, decorating and all that, I'll move them back in here. And so by the end of the year, all of the family pages are together in one planner. It's just by month, I like to have the FRANKENPLANNER. So that's just kind of how I do it. And now I've upgraded to the larger size discs, so I can have basically at this point the previous month and the current month, so March and April, in here at one time. And I can just move out the previous month, and that gives me a chance to actually move into May, the future month, a little bit earlier. It was just harder for me to do that, and so I'm literally recording this like the last day. It's not the last day, like March 30th. So with the extra space, I'll be able to record a little bit earlier. I'll still won't post it early, I don't think, but it will at least be in there. Okay, and then the last divider here is my faith divider, and we will talk about this in the flip through, but I did show you way earlier in the video that I've got a different setup for my faith planner now, and so that section will stay in for March for the flip through, but I'm not adding anything for that section. And that means that I do have a 6th divider that's empty, and I think I will put in any home binder reference notes. So just as an example, like this, these notes right here that I have for Disney, I'm going to put in that 6th section just so it gets a separate space for itself, right? And then I do have a pin loop here. This is an envelope that I've attached a pin loop to, and I keep a pin attached to it, so I always have something to write with. And yeah, okay, so this was a very long video, but I was able to both set up, show you the lineup, talk through everything, and just do all the things, so both lineup and setup. So, and of course, the majority of my work is in my FRANKENPLANNER, but I do also have these other planners that I use. So the FRANKENPLANNER has 4 planners in one. Then my social media, then my work planner, my journal notebook, as well as my expense tracker. And so these 5 planners will carry me through April. So that is my lineup for April. Yay! And now we're done. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Leave me any questions or comments if you have them. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to my channel. And until the next video, bye guys.